The Senate Finance and Appropriations Committee will come to order. The clerk will call the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We have an extremely long docket today. We have about 70 bills to hear. Some of them are revenue bills that need to be heard today. We have put together 5 separate blocks to try to make this go a bit more quickly. At any point, any of the committee members can take a bill out of the block, and there will be some that we will be taking out so they can be amended. So with that, April, do you want to do the first block?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first bill, House Bill 783, Delegate Askew, this has to do with the presumption of compensability for certain...
Just interrupt, I'm sorry. This first block is House bills that are identical to Senate bills that pass the Senate. Okay. April.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, the first bill, House Bill 783, is Delegate Askew's bill. This has to do with the presumption of compensability for certain diseases under workers' compensation. It is identical to Senate Bill 9, Senator Stanislaw's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no. The second bill, Delegate Bagby's bill, House Bill 789, relates to replacing references to payday loans with short-term loans under consumer lending. It was conformed to be identical to Senate Bill 421, Senator Locke's bill, and Commerce and Labor before it came here. The next bill, House Bill 438, Delegate Heretick's bill, has to do with post-traumatic stress disorder for law enforcement officers and firefighters under workers' comp. That one is identical to Senate Bill 561, Senator Vogel's bill, which passed the Senate 37 yes, 2 no. The next bill, House Bill 727, Delegate Hope's bill, has to do with telecommunicator cardiopulmonary resuscitation, EMD program, PSAP dispatchers. This is after it was conformed to be identical to Senate Bill 720 in Commerce and Labor. It is now identical to that bill.
Madam Chair,
Senator McClellan.
may I ask a question on that bill?
Sure.
The Senate bill was amended in the House to change the who is supposed to adopt standards to the Office of Emergency Medical Services, which removes the fiscal impact. So I think we now need to conform House Bill 727 to the new version of Senate Bill 720, which will be on the floor in the House today with that change.
So you would like to take it out of the block?
We'll take it out of the block.
Yes.
The next bill has been requested to be out of the block as well, House Bill 1434, Delegate Jones's bill, which has been requested to be out. The next bill, House Bill 1436, also Delegate Jones. This has to do with the establishment and a report related to the Virginia Spirits Board. It is identical to Senate Bill 583, Senator Mason's bill, which passed the Senate 35 yes, 4 no. The next bill, House Bill 1439, also Delegate Jones, has to do with transportation safety and several initiatives. It has been conformed already to Senate Bill 907, Senator Lucas's bill, which passed the Senate 26 yes, 14 no. The next bill, House Bill 4, Delegate Knight's bill, has to do with the regulation of casino gaming and the Lottery Board. It has been conformed to Senate Bill 36, Senator Lucas's bill, which is now identical to that one, and it passed the Senate 29 yes, 11 no. The next bill, House Bill 22, Delegate Lindsey's bill, related to the Virginia Community Flood Preparedness Fund, which is a loan and grant program. It is identical to Senate Bill 320, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no. The next bill, House Bill 896, Delegate Sickles' bill, has to do with the regulation of sports betting under the Virginia Lottery. It has been conformed to Senate Bill 384, Senator McPike's bill. So it's now identical, and that bill passed the Senate 27 yes, 12 no. The next bill, House Bill 1428, has already been requested to be out of the block.
Yes, Senator Evans.
Just wanted to ask April, when you said it's been conformed, you mean that the House bill has been conformed to the Sickles bill this McPike bill conform to Sickles, or just that we're recommending conforming?
Senate Commerce and Labor conformed Delegate Sickles' bill to Senator McPike's bill before it
Thank you.
came here. You're welcome. As I mentioned, House Bill 1428, Delegate Sickles' bill has already been requested to come out of the block. The next bill, House Bill 835, Delegate Sullivan's bill relating to water and sewer utilities and the sale of assets under the Utilities Transfers Act, is identical to Senate Bill 831, Senator Lewis's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no. And that is the last, I believe, bill in that block.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Senator Newman.
could I, on page 2, take out House Bill 1439, House Bill 4, House Bill 896, and House Bill 1428?
Would you mind repeating those?
Sure. It's 1439, 4, 896, and 1428.
I know.
Madam Chairman,
Senator Ruff.
was House Bill 1196 taken out of the block?
It's a different block. It's a different block. Okay. All right. So could you list the bills that are no longer in the block, please?
Madam Chair, here are the ones I have that have come out of the block. House Bill 727, House Bill 1434, House Bill 1439, House Bill 4, House Bill 896, House Bill 1428, which leaves in the block House Bill 783, House Bill 789, House Bill 438, House Bill 1436, House Bill 22, House Bill 835.
Okay, is there a motion to report the block? It's been moved and seconded that the bills remaining in the block be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
12 ayes, 0 nays.
Could you add Norman as a yes? Okay, so now we will go back and deal with the bills that have been pulled out of the block in the order you have them. April?
Madam Chair, the first one is House Bill 727. That's Delegate Hope's bill, which was requested to come out of the block by, I believe, Senator McQuillan, so that a substitute could be adopted to move the administrative responsibility from DCJS to the Department of EMS within the Health Department. Is that
That's correct. I believe there is another amendment to change a date. Yeah.
Madam Chair, Senator McCollum, that's correct. That's also in the substitute.
If we could have the substitute. And is there a motion to adopt the substitute? It's been moved and seconded the substitute be adopted. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It's adopted. Is there a motion then on the bill? It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported 727. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
13 ayes, 0 nays.
13 ayes, 0 nays, the bill's reported. Okay, the next one out of the block, April.
Madam Chair, the next one is House Bill 1434. Delegate Jones, this has to do with the certified pollution control equipment and facilities, which was, prior to this action, identical to a Senate Bill 763, Senator Barker's bill.
Is there discussion on this? All in favor of report? Senator
Madam Chair,
Barker.
we adopted an amendment in the House to my bill to address an issue that had been identified after crossover. So I don't have that amendment with me here. Oh, you got it, okay. All right. Please
So-
distribute it. Yeah.
So do you want to move to adopt the substitute?
Yes, I move that we adopt the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded the substitute be adopted. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? It's adopted. And with that, are we ready to move that it be reported?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes, Senator Hanger.
It's just, what's the difference?
Madam Chair?
Go
Yes.
ahead, go ahead.
Madam Chair, as I understand it, the main difference is on lines 65 to 70, and it is sort of clarifying which projects this applies to. That language about on 66 to 67 about filing a request form by January 1, 2019 just applies. What that change on the following lines applies to.
Madam Chair?
Senator Barker.
Yeah, basically what this does is it takes away the potential for someone who did not file an application seeking the benefits of this proposal here, which is, much of which is already in place, that they don't get to go back and retroactively claim some benefit.
Senator Norman.
Madam Chairman, if I could ask Senator Barker, I'm not a big fan of the first word on line 65, which starts out notwithstanding any provision to the contrary, because that can be a very sweeping categorization. And my question is that language necessary?
I do not believe it is necessary, so.
Madam Chairman, I would respectfully move, based upon that very insightful response from Senator Barker, that we delete that notwithstanding provision, and I trust council to make the appropriate rewrite on it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, the notwithstanding phrase be taken out of the bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Now are we ready for a
I would move to
move?
report.
It's been moved that the bill be reported as amended. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays. The bill's reported. Next, April.
Madam Chair, the next bill that was pulled out of the block is House Bill 1439, Delegate Jones' bill related to several initiatives under transportation safety. Again, it was conformed to Senate Bill 907, Senator Lucas's bill, before it passed the Senate, 26 yes, 14 no.
Is there discussion on this? Is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded that 1439 be reported. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
13 ayes, 1 nay.
13 ayes, 1 nays. The bills are reported. Next, April.
Madam Chair, the next bill that had been pulled out of the block is House Bill 4, Delegate Knight's bill related to the regulation of casino gaming under the Lottery Board. It was conformed before coming here to Senate Bill 36, Senator Lucas's bill. Therefore, being identical to that bill passed the Senate 29 yes, 11 no.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
is this an
Senator
appropriate
Norman.
bill to pass by indefinitely? Madam Chair, thank you for that answer.
Is there a motion on, it's been moved and seconded that House Bill 4 be reported. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
12 ayes, 2 nays.
12 ayes, 2 nays. The bill's reported. April.
Madam Chair, the next bill that came out of the block was House Bill 896. This is Delegate Sickles' bill related to sports betting under the Virginia Lottery. It has been conformed before coming here to Senate Bill 384, Senator McPike's bill, which passed the Senate 27 yes, 12 no.
Is there a motion on this bill?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 896 be reported. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
11 ayes, 3 nays.
11 ayes, 3 nays. The bill's reported. April.
Madam Chair, the next bill that came out of the block is House Bill 1428, Delegate Sickles' bill. This relates to the creation of a Virginia Health Benefit Exchange. It is identical to Senate Bill 732, which passed out of the Senate 29 yes, 10 no.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Senator McClellan.
Senate Bill 732 was also amended in the House with some technical amendments. Have those amendments been made here? There's a substitute. I move the substitute.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, say aye. Aye, any opposed? Okay. Is there a motion on the bill?
Ma-
Senator Hanger.
Just an explanation of what was changed in the substitute.
Madam Chair, unless there's someone from the governor's office who requested these changes, I'm not familiar with what the changes are because I'm not the person who worked on this bill, so I can't explain them.
Madam Chair,
Senator McClellan.
I don't have the list of the substantive changes, but there had been some stakeholder discussions between the health plans and the Virginia Poverty Law Center and the administration, and the substitute reflects consensus reached by those three stakeholders. If you'd like to take this by temporarily, I can get a list of what those changes are.
Madam Chair,
Senator
I
Evans.
understand the sponsor is running a committee in the House. If you'd like, I can get word to him if he wants to give you as vice chair.
Senator Hanger.
I think Senator McClellan and I had the same bill. I didn't follow it on the House side to see what changes they made, but
Senator McClellan.
Let's take this by temporarily so I can get the list. Again, the changes
Okay,
were
we'll take that by
consensus reached by
temporarily.
stakeholders.
Okay, April next.
Madam Chair, that completes the first block of bills. The second block of bills isn't a true block. Other
Let me
than,
just interject. This was supposed to be our quick and easy block, so here we go.
Madam Chair, this set of bills are identical to a Senate bill that was either continued or failed and is not funded in the Senate budget. However, I think the first two you could take in a block because they're related. HJ 103, Delegate Helmer's bill related to a constitutional amendment for personal property tax exemption for motor vehicles of a disabled veteran, and the companion bill, House Bill 1268, also Delegate Helmer's bill related to the same thing. On the Senate side, Senator Morrissey had this SJ 58, and Senator Reeves had SB 446, and both of those were continued in the committee for the year.
I must admit that I've had sort of a change of heart on this one. That maybe we were a little bit quick on referring the Senate version to carrying it over, but we governed by motion, so what is the motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we
This-
continue it to
I'd like to do it.
2021.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
I move that we carried over for the year.
Is there a second to that? Is there another motion? Not hearing a second.
There was a second, I thought.
Let's do it. Let's record it. I want to
You're on.
record it. I said I'd check.
Madam Chairman, I move to report, please.
Is there a second to report? It's been moved and seconded, House Joint Resolution 103 be reported, and along with it is the enabling, so we'll do that next if this passes. We can do them in a block? Okay, they're in a block. All in favor of voting for the block, record your vote aye, opposed nay.
13 ayes, 0 nays.
13 ayes, 0 nays. The constitutional amendment and enabling legislation have been agreed to. Yes. This is the first. This is second reading. We passed it last
It's
year.
got to be done 2 years, 6 as a second.
This was the second time?
This is the second time. Okay. April.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1103, Delegate Hudson's bill. This has to do with ranked choice voting for elections for local governing bodies and a local option pilot. There was an identical bill, Senate Bill 892, Senator Elbin's bill, which failed to report even from P&E. And so the recommendation on this one would be to carry over with a letter to elect due to the fiscal impact of $1.3 million to elections.
Elect is in the process of getting a new system, and the hope is they'll be able to incorporate this into whatever system they get. So it shouldn't actually lead to any loss of time should this pass ultimately.
Does this bill, Madam Chair, have a delayed enactment date?
Wait. He was, Senator Eben was speaking, and then we can do the substitute motion.
Do you want me to answer?
What?
Would you like me to answer this question?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Chair, Senator Eben, it has a delayed effective date of July 1, 2021, with a sunset on July 1, 2031.
Madam Chair,
Senator Newman.
I know there may be a substitute motion, but the fact is that we just haven't done it this way. If we didn't fund it in the Senate budget and we've treated the Senate bills this way, I mean, it would be very unusual for us to now start down the path of doing it this. I hope we won't do that.
And I would just say one thing, Madam Chair.
Yes, Senator Eben.
I think the sponsor, Delegate Hudson, did a better job of explaining it in P&E than I did, even if I warmed them up. So this is a good bill, and I think the funding, if I'm not mistaken, was coming from localities that participated rather than from the state.
Delegate Hudson.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I think that's the part that may be tripping us up. There is a fiscal impact of the bill, but the bill specifies that those costs would be borne by the localities. So there is no fiscal impact to the state. The fiscal impact is to the localities that would choose to adopt the bill.
Madam Chair,
Senator McClellan.
question for the patron, and again, this is optional for those localities, so only those localities that choose to do it, and they would know when they chose to do it that they would be paying those costs.
Madam Chair, Senator McClellan, that is correct, and we drafted the bill with that in mind.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion? We had a motion and a substitute motion. The substitute motion was to report. Is there a second to the substitute motion? It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 1103 be reported. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
12 ayes, 3 nays.
12 ayes, 3 nays. It's reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
April.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1194, Delegate Lopez's bill, has to do with the Dairy Producer Margin Coverage Premium Assistance Program and its establishment. It is identical to Senate Bill 954, Senator Obenshain's bill, which passed the Senate. However, it had the appropriation clause. The Senate budget did not fund it, and this was not funded in the House budget as well. So the recommendation was to carry it over.
Is there discussion on this? Yes, Senator Hanger.
Apologize. I would very much like to keep this one alive, but I'm not sure how the approach to use, if other than just the.
Madam Chair,
Senator Peterson.
I think I had this budget amendment, and obviously it didn't make it to the Senate final. Is it in the House budget?
It's not in the House budget. Delegate Wilt, who I've been working with on this, put the budget amendment on the Senate, on the House side. And the idea was that we were trying to still work to try to get some administrative money set aside by the governor's office to try to make it work. Because we don't need the full budget request. It could be a pilot. It could be $750,000, and we would be able to make the program work.
Madam Chair, I guess, obviously it's in neither budget right now, but is it possible to keep it alive, perhaps funded by the governor? I don't know.
Madam Chair?
Or keep the clause on it, I guess.
Senator Hanger.
The reason why I
I
have the interest in, if I could speak to that, is it has a provision in there where they would not be eligible for this unless they had adopted a nutrient management plan. So there's a tie-in to best management practices, and that's why I was going a little further and trying to keep it alive, to figure out if we could get a modest amount of money behind it. Perhaps in the second year, it wouldn't be needed in the first year. So I would move that we put the clause on it. Got the
It
clause on
has,
already?
it's already got the
Okay,
clause.
I move be reported then.
Senator Norman had a comment.
Madam Chairman, sometimes I get hung up on protocol, not with regards to the substance of the bill. We have a bill in front of us that has the clause on it, which gave the Finance Committee the opportunity to fund it. An affirmative decision was made not to fund it. So we have a bill in front of us that is not funded in the House budget, is not funded in the Senate budget after a consideration of the clause, and I think just from a procedural standpoint, it is inappropriate to report the bill under any circumstances.
Is there further discussion? One option would be to carry it over.
Yes.
Are you making that motion?
I will make a substitute motion to carry it over.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, the substitute motion is to carry it over. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Wait, we
Any
got to
opposed?
vote, we got to vote on the vote.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
14 ayes, 1 nay.
14 ayes, 1 nay. It's carried over to the next session.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1196, Delegate Lopez's bill, relates to the suspension for non-payment of fines or cost driver's licenses. This was identical to Senate Bill 1, Senator Stanley's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no. Both House and Senate budgets provide general funds to offset the estimated loss to the trauma fund in 2020. It contains an emergency clause.
Okay, other questions? Yes. Yes,
Madam
Lisa.
Chair, this bill went through Senate Transportation where they conformed it to the Senate version with an emergency clause. That same time, the House took off the emergency clause in the Senate bill. So in front of you, the emergency clause isn't necessary because it's in the current budget, which will go through June 30th, and then this bill will become effective July 1. There are two very technical commas that need to be added to Delegate Lopez's bill, so it actually is identical to the language of Senator Stanley. So I would ask the committee to adopt those two commas, but not adopt the emergency clause.
I would move the comment.
Madam Chair?
Okay, the commas have been moved.
That is one of them.
All in favor of the commas, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, then the emergency clause, which we don't need. Do we need to remove it, or is it already removed?
Madam Chair, I think with the adoption of those two amendments as your committee amendments on the floor, you'll just need to ask to reject the Senate Transportation amendments and adopt the Senate Finance amendments, and that'll take care of it.
Okay, good. So is there a motion then on? It's been moved. Is there a second to report? And seconded that the bill be reported as amended. All in favor, say, vote aye, opposed nay.
– 11 ayes, 2 nays.
I'm told that Delegate Sickles is here, so if we could bring back the exchange bill.
Yes, Madam Chair, and we also have someone from the Secretary of Health and Human Resources who can walk through the amendments.
1428.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The amendments are technical in nature, most of it, and so the experts are here, but I can give it a shot. Good. Oh, go ahead. I mean, I could represent, I heard you had it presented earlier, the bill or somewhat.
So, Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes.
There was a question from Senator Hanger about the amendments that were made to the two bills in the House to reflect the agreement between the stakeholders. So if you could just walk through those changes.
Absolutely.
I'm Holly Mortlock, Senior Policy Advisor to the Secretary of Health and Human Resources. I'll be happy to walk you through the changes of the substitute bill. So the substitute bill reflects changes that were made in agreement with all of the stakeholders that had provided comment and had some questions about the content of the bill. So this included, it was a 2-hour conversation between us, the Bureau of Insurance, the Virginia Association of Health Plans, the Poverty Law Center, and other stakeholders that were involved. And so we believe that this is the agreement that is reflected from all of the parties that participated in that conversation. And so basically, I'll just walk through what the main changes were. So one, just a number of technical changes, just to align sort of as we're taking sort of functions that the federal government has currently done and brought them back to Virginia, just making sure that the Bureau of Insurance has the authority to conduct the oversight activities that it normally does. Second, it ensures that the exchange has a consumer focus by adding navigator expertise to the advisory council. It gives Virginia some flexibility in conducting plan management to ensure that we can make plan comparison easier and control premium costs. It also does not tie us to the federal government standards. It also allows Virginia flexibility to extend open enrollment and implement special enrollment periods as permitted by federal law. This is to maximize our enrollment opportunities. It also allows Virginia flexibility in administering the SHOP program by allowing for direct contracting for SHOP plans. So I just wanted to clarify that our intention is not to build out a SHOP. As you have heard some concerns from stakeholders, this addresses everyone's concerns about not being tied to that. There are other opportunities that Virginia may have as CMS grants more flexibility. This language just makes sure that we have the authority to do what we can, and as things evolve, as we move towards full implementation, we may be able to do some other opportunities and have flexibility on the SHOP. It also updates the Navigator language to ensure that the SEC is able to implement the Navigator program this year. So that is really the summary of the changes.
Senator Norman.
A couple of questions, and this is in the area I've got much knowledge on. On the summation of the bill, I see that there's an unknown but a possible non-general fund impact of $13.5 million. Where is that money coming from?
So that would be the Treasury loan. So that would be the Treasury loan that the SEC would be granted.
Okay, thank you very much.
The intention is to pay that back.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I believe we've already adopted the substitute, so I would move to report the bill.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Nay. Opposed, nay.
I'm doing better over here than I did over there.
So far.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention.
The bill's reported.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, then we're going back to Block 2.
We're on 1621. Is that right? Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1621. This is Delegate Plum's bill related to the Virginia Urban Agriculture Advisory Council. It was identical to Senate Bill 854, Senator Peterson's bill, which was continued in the committee. 15 yes, 0 no.
Is there a motion then on 1621? It's been moved that it be continued to next session. Is there a and seconded? All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
13 ayes, 0 nays.
13 ayes, 0 nays. The bill's continued to the next session. Okay, now we're on Block 3. And these are House bills that are similar to Senate bills, and our suggestion is that they be conformed to the Senate bill. April.
Madam Chair, the first bill, House Bill 881, Delegate Bulova's bill. This relates to gaming in Virginia and penalties. It is similar to Senate Bill 971, which incorporated Senate Bills 908 and 909 of Senator Norment, and then passed the Senate 31 yes, 9 no. So the recommendation is then to conform to Senate Bill 971. The only difference is the definition of a family center. So if you were fine with that difference, you could also just report the bill.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to conform to 971.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that the bill be conformed to 971. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Is there a motion on the bill?
Move to report as amended.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 881 be reported as amended. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
12 ayes, 2 nays.
12 ayes, 2 nays. The bill's reported. April.
Madam Chair, House Bill 534 is the next bill. This is Delegate Carr's bill. It is similar to Senate Bill 11, Senator Evans' bill, which passed the Senate 26 yes, 14 no. However, the Senate bill imposed in Planning District 8 only a local option elsewhere. So the recommendation originally was to conform to that bill, but I do believe that the patron might object to that.
Madam Chair.
Is the patron here objecting?
Madam Chair.
No, she's
I
not
move to
objecting.
conform.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be conformed to Senate Bill 11. All in favor?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
and I apologize for asking a question, but so if we're conforming, her bill has passed, the House was statewide, and we're going to conform it to what we passed on the floor on crossover night? Okay.
And presumably it'll be worked out in conference. Hopefully. Okay, so all in favor of reporting as conformed, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Thirteen ayes, 1 nay.
13 ayes, 1 nays. The bill's reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 123, Delegate Carol Foyle's bill. This one is similar to Senate Bill 838. This relates to non-payment of wages and liability for wage payments under construction contracts. Senator Evans' bill passed the Senate 20 yes, 20 no, with the chair voting yes. It has a Woodrum impact of $50,000 general fund. So you could potentially conform this one to Senate Bill 838.
Madam Chair.
Senator Peterson.
Yes, I would move to conform this to how we passed the bill in the Senate, and I think it's critical to get this correct because this could have a huge impact on small business. So I ask that we conform to the Senate version.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 123 be conformed to Senate Bill 838. All in favor of conforming? Say aye. Aye, okay. Any opposed? So it's been conformed. Is there a motion on the bill?
Move to report as amended.
It's been moved that it be reported as amended. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Thirteen ayes, 2 nays.
13 ayes, 2 nays. The bill is reported. April.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 972, Delegate Herring's bill, has to do with the decriminalization of simple possession of marijuana. It is similar to Senate Bill 2, Senator Evans' bill, which incorporated Senate Bill 815, Senator Morrissey's bill, and then passed the Senate 27 yes, 0 no. The recommendations would be you could conform it to Senate Bill 2. The key differences are there's a $25 fee in the House bill and a $50 fee in the Senate bill, and then the definition of marijuana itself. And the House bill creates a work group. Those are the differences.
Did you want to
Madam
speak?
Chair, I do want to
Yeah.
speak because I just wanted to make sure you all also knew that the senator and I were trying to avoid a conference, so he introduced a substitute in my House Courts of Justice Committee. So it's up to you.
Senator Evans.
Just
Yes,
to be
okay.
clear, I thought with the last piece of the bill, we were going to go to conference. Is that?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
That's true.
So
That's
we
true. There
actually
was something
do
in
want to go to conference, so we would need to conform if that's the case. They are very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Senator Norman.
Speaking of marijuana and the proposed under your bill, how do you feel about expungement of these situations?
And they keep asking me that. So, I mean, honestly, as a policy matter, and I've said this before, expungement, I think that I don't like to pick winners and losers, and I think expungement, either we do something different in the code to expunge, for example. So you have marijuana, but then we have people who've been sex trafficked. And Senator Locke had that bill, and to expunge prostitution charges. And so I thought it would be a better idea if we do something next year that's more comprehensive regarding expungement. I know you all ripped out my sealed record portion of the bill, and it's what it is, but I think that we can be more comprehensive next year by taking a good look and include
I
more
look
people.
forward to having that discussion.
I look forward to it too, because I think we can do something good.
Okay, is there any further? Is there a motion to? It's been moved. Is there a second to conform to Senate Bill 2? It's been moved and seconded that the bill be conformed. All in favor, say aye. 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 Any opposed? It's conformed. Is there a motion on the bill? It's been moved and seconded the bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
13 ayes, 2 nays.
13 ayes, 2 nays. The bill's reported. April.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 748, Delegate Jones' bill, has to do with the research and development tax credit and the sunset on that and the caps. It's similar to Senate Bill 110, the chair's bill, which passed the Senate 39 yes, 1 no. So the recommendation would be to conform it to Senate Bill 110.
Is there a motion?
I move,
It's been,
I move we conform it to Senate Bill 110.
thank you. It's been moved and seconded the bill be conformed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Is there a motion on the bill?
Move to report as amended.
It's been moved. Is there a second? And seconded, the bill be reported as amended. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
15 ayes, 0 nays.
15 ayes, 0 nays. Bill's reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1151, Delegate Lopez bill, also has to do with the disposable plastic bags and local taxes. It's similar to Senate Bill 11, Senator Evans' bill that passed the Senate, as you know, 26 yes, 14 no. And it was also similar to House Bill 534, which we did, Delegate Carr's bill, which we dealt with a moment
Madam
ago.
Chair.
Yes,
I
Senator
move that we
Newman.
conform the bills.
It's been moved that the House bill be conformed to Senate Bill 11. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the bill's conformed. Is there a motion?
I would make a motion and just note that you've given me 4 conference reports in 10 minutes, but with that, I move to report.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. The bill be reported. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
14 ayes, 1 nay.
14 ayes, 1 nay. Bill's reported. Okay, April.
Madam Chair, House Bill 879, Delegate Sickles' bill. This relates to the Certificate of Public Need Medical Care Facilities program. It was similar to Senate Bill 764, Senator Barker's bill, which passed the Senate 20 yes, 19 no, and it had the appropriation clause. The Senate does fund the bill, so the recommendation potentially would be to conform it. However, I do want to point out that there was an enactment clause adopted in Senate Ed and Health to grant the approval of a neonatal special care service in Planning District 5.
And that amendment's still on. Yes, Senator Barker. Yes, I understand there are some amendments.
Madam Chair, there are 9 line amendments, and I can explain what they do, as I think Delegate Sickles is not here, but the bill in its current form as a 7th enactment about a neonatal special care service in Planning District 5, and the amendments would strike that enactment. They also make some other technical changes like moving or replacing references to the Secretary of Health with the Department of Health. It delays the task force recommendations by 2 years, and they move language currently in the bill about an intermediate care facility for individuals with an intellectual disability with no more than 12 beds and move it from one subdivision to another.
Madam Chair?
That has a substantive effect.
Senator Edwards.
The amendment to delete the neonatal care center at Louisville Hospital, which is what this is not opposed by Trillion. That's a critical issue to get this thing out. I can't support the bill without it, and I'll support the bill with it. They've been fighting for this for 8 years at least. It shows you the breakdown of the COPN system. It's extremely popular and it's extremely needed. And this, I don't know who put in this amendment. This is a terrible idea, and I cannot support it at all. And it's very upset about the fact that they would even think about doing this. It's very important in my district.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Senator Barker.
Yeah, I would move that we adopt the amendments other than the ones related to the Planning District 5 issue and leave that unchanged because that came from Education and Health in that form here. And so I would move that we adopt the remaining amendments, but not that one.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt all of the amendments except that related to the NICU. All in favor of that indicate by voting aye, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
NICU's out.
Okay.
It's in.
All right.
It's still part of it. So I would then move to report the bill as amended.
It's been moved the bill be reported as amended. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
12 ayes, 3 nays.
12 ayes, 3 nays. The bills are reported. Okay, we're now on block 4. We're going a bit faster. Let's see how we do. These are similar. These are House bills that are similar to Senate bills, and they have been reported or carried over.
Yes.
April.
Madam Chair, the first bill, House Bill 909, Delegate Hayes' bill, relates to driver's license suspensions and non-driving related offenses. It is essentially identical to Senate Bill 513, Senator Edwards' bill, except that the Senate bill passed the Senate with the appropriation clause. Neither House nor Senate budgets provide funds to DMV for programming costs. But you could pass it and have DMV absorb that cost, I believe. So the recommendation was to report the bill.
Second.
Is there a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Twelve ayes, 2 nays.
12 ayes, 2 nays. The bill's reported. April.
The next bill, House Bill 981, Delegate Herring's bill. This relates to the Clean Energy and Community Flood Preparedness Act. It was similar to Senate Bill 1027, and it is an administration bill. There is a committee substitute, and I'm going to let a patron substitute. I apologize. There's a patron substitute, so you might have the patron describe that substitute.
Delegate Herring.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. The substitute takes out what I consider an unfriendly amendment regarding LS Power. And there are some other sort of technical changes to the bill to make it identical to Senator Lewis's bill. I can go through all those technical changes if you'd like.
No, we don't need that.
Okay. But I guess the biggest issue is LS Power, and the amendment put on, I think, is basically is not good for the fund, and this is why it would provide the company with allowances at 25% of the price that everyone else pays, with a total cost of estimated $42.6 million, which takes away from the purpose of the fund, which is to provide assistance for low-income Virginians and most importantly, the flood resilience program. I think, unfortunately, the company made an error. I know that there were allowances in other states, but they were relying on a work group meeting, and I think anyone with just basic law school knowledge knows that regulatory process does not depend on a work group. There is a notice process, and I don't think Virginia should be in the spot of rescuing the company and losing some funds that could help us with resilience of our shores.
Madam Chair.
Just 1 minute, if we could adopt the substitute.
Madam Chair, before we adopt the substitute.
Before, okay. Senator Peterson, then Senator Newman.
Well, Delegate, does the substitute have the language that you want?
Yes, it does. It does
Okay.
include, it's exactly like Senator Lewis's.
All right, well, let me just be clear that that would be conforming to what we passed out with Senator Lewis' bill. We had hours of discussions on this, both before and after crossover, and I think it was a little bit of a fluke that it ended up the way it did coming out of the Ag Committee, and we knew that we would have a chance to get it right, quite frankly, in this committee, so I would support the substitute.
Okay, thank you. Senator Newman.
Madam Chair, I struggle with the substitute. I think Ag got it right. When you look at it, there are a number of companies in Virginia we've given the exemption to. This bill has an exemption for Dominion. This has an exemption for other companies, and we took one company, we said, we're not going to give that exemption to them. And I've been trying to be a truth seeker on this, and I can't get anyone to give me a good reason why we are treating this one company differently than we treat Dominion Power and others. So I know this committee is inclined to support the substitute, but I don't know exactly why we are taking one company that may have missed a discussion, but treating them with about, what I understand is about a $40 million hit.
Delegate Herring, do you have a response?
Other than just repeat what I said last time. I mean, it's more than one discussion. There's a regulatory process that I just think they gambled wrong, honestly.
Well, Madam Chair.
Senator
And I'm
Norman.
just guessing, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your explanation. Why are we doing a carve-out for Dominion and no one else?
This was an agreement, and I don't know if the administration, if I can defer to Secretary Strickler.
Yes.
Chairman Howell, Senator Norman, Matt Strickler, Secretary of Natural Resources for Governor Northam. So the way that the bill is written, it doesn't provide an exemption for Dominion. It clarifies that they're allowed to count the costs as environmental compliance costs through their process with the State Corporation Commission. If the bill remained silent on that, it would have just gone to the State Corporation Commission to figure out, and they probably would have arrived at the same conclusion.
Madam Chair.
Well, Mr. Secretary, while you are there, and I'm assuming this is your bill, why can not a similar arrangement be made for other generators who have pre-existing contract that are going to experience a significant economic loss that Dominion is being covered for, at least within the discretion of the SCC? I don't understand.
Chair Howell, Senator, it's a good question. The root of the reason why
I only ask good questions.
It's a fair point. You do. The root of the cause here is that the way that these companies operate is different. LS Power chose to enter into these long-term contracts at a time when the idea of carbon pricing was something that other companies were contemplating. They chose to not contemplate that in the contracts that they signed. That was a financial decision and a legal decision that the company made. I think it's turned out to be a poor one, but I don't think it's, what we are hoping is that the General Assembly will not try to jump in the middle of that contract.
Madam Chair.
Senator Norman, then.
A follow-up question, and it's not a particularly diplomatic one, but there have been a lot of green energy bills that have meandered through the General Assembly, which from the outside it appears that Dominion has acquiesced on some of them, and I'm just wondering, is this part of some brokered arrangement that a concession would be made on this bill in exchange for maybe concessions they have made on other bills?
Chairman Howell, Senator Norman, to my knowledge, the answer to that question is no.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Senator McClellan.
Question for the Secretary. Is LS Power a public utility?
No.
Chairwoman Howell, Senator McClellan, no, they're not.
A follow-up question, Madam Chair.
Senator McClellan.
But Dominion is?
Madam Chair, Senator, yes, that's accurate.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I think the biggest difference between these two is as a regulated utility, Dominion has certain constitutional protections that they are able to recover costs, and whether we tell them how those costs will, whether we tell the SCC how those costs will be recovered or not, those costs will ultimately be recovered. And so what the bill does is instructs the SCC the policy that the General Assembly wants on how Dominion's costs will be recovered. LS Power is in a different position. LS Power had the ability to negotiate a contract knowing the risk that Virginia would eventually or could eventually join RGGI. The RGGI discussion, the possibility of joining RGGI was out there when LS Power entered into that agreement. They made a bad business decision, and now they are asking the General Assembly to help them recover their costs for a bad business decision, whereas unlike Dominion, they do not have constitutional protections that they are entitled to recover their costs. That's the difference between the two.
Oh, okay.
Madam Chair,
Senator Newman.
that comment is confusing a bit. What's the name of the other company that is given the capability to have an exclusion in the bill? I can help you if you.
Chairwoman Howell, Senator Newman, the name of the company is Tenasca.
Madam Chair,
Senator Newman.
just to be clear, we took one company that's not a regulated power company, and we put them in. We put Dominion in for the reasons just stated. We had one more left, and we left them out. And why did you leave them out? You left them out because there was this idea that there could be this type of bill coming along, and they should have known that we would pass this bill. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, really? That we're going to take one company and not allow them in. We're going to let another company in. We're going to let Dominion in. But we're not going to let one in. And they really just should have known. They should have known. They should have been clairvoyant enough to know that we would be here with this bill now. And as a result of not being clairvoyant, they're going to have to pay some $40 million. And that's what I'm struggling with, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Senator Peterson.
And I'm going to speak with just a little bit of knowledge about the industry. First of all, I think Senator McClellan's exactly right. A regulated utility is allowed to recover stranded costs. And paying for emission credits is by definition a stranded cost. So that's really nothing earth-shaking. I think I've established over 20 years. I'm not an apologist for Dominion, but that's just how it works. In terms of the other point that Senator Newman made, that's an excellent point, unless you understand what a tolling facility is. A tolling facility is somebody that just owns the unit. The input is brought in, they create power, the power is then sold throughout the grid. They simply own the unit itself. That was a tolling facility. We did carve them out because they were solely a tolling facility. Now, you can disagree with that decision that we made in the Ag Committee, and maybe it was the wrong decision, but that was the genesis behind it. It was not an arbitrary, we like you, we don't like you, we like your lobbyists, we don't like your lobbyists. That was the decision we made. So again, it may be rejected or not rejected, but it was not based on because we like Dominion or don't like Dominion. It was just simply the decision that we made.
Second.
It's been moved and
Well,
seconded.
Madam Chair, we were on the substitute, and I'm good to report the bill like it is, if that's the motion, but I think others might want the substitute.
I withdraw the motion. I move to adopt the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded the substitute be adopted. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. The ayes have it. Is there a motion on the bill?
Support the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded the substitute be adopted.
Reported.
Thank you, reported. All in favor, vote aye, opposed nay.
12 ayes, 4 nays.
12 ayes, 4 nays, the bill's recorded.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair and members of the committee, appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, April.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 119, Delegate Knight's bill, has to do with the definition of milk, misbranding, and prohibitions. It was similar to SB 510, Senator Reeves' bill, which was continued in the committee, 15 yes, 0 no. Therefore, the recommendation was that it would be carried over. There is a difference in that the Senate bill did not have an enactment clause, and the enactment clause provides that the bill shall not become effective until 6 months after the adoption on or before October 1, 2029, or a similar act in any of the 11 of 14 named states.
Is there a motion?
Move to carry over.
It's been moved. Is there a second to carry over?
Madam Chair,
Senator Peterson.
I do want to try and throw a lifeline to Barry here because we did put an enactment on this that this would only take effect if certain states would adopt this policy. So it was substantively different. So I'd like to save the bill.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to
Yes.
save the bill too. It is substantive difference. It's 2029, like she said, it's 11 of 14 states for distribution purposes. The odds of this happening anytime soon are probably very slim, and we know how bad our dairy farmers have it out there. And to send a big signal to them, I think would carry a lot of weight.
Is there a,
Madam Chair, substitute motion that we report the bill.
it's been moved and seconded, the bill be reported.
Speaking to the motion.
Yes, Senator Evans.
So just on a substantive basis, really quick, this means that milks that are sold as almond milk, that sort of thing in the supermarket, would no longer be able to be labeled that way?
They wouldn't be able to be labeled as milk after 2029, I mean, before 2029, if 11 of 14 surrounding states were to adopt this pretty much identical legislation.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and second to report the bill. All in favor, record your vote aye, opposed no.
Ten ayes, 5 nays, 1 abstention.
10 ayes, 5 nays, 1 abstention, the bill's reported.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Senator.
April.
The next bill, Madam Chair, is House Bill 1422, Delegate Plum's bill. It has to do with the Chesapeake Bay Watershed Implementation Plan initiatives and nutrient management plans. It is similar to Senate Bill 704, Senator Mason's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no. The introduced budget contains funding. The Senate bill clarified that the bill's reference to the TMDL plan, which is the Watershed Implementation Plan, applies to agriculture and forestry sector. That is the difference. So otherwise, it's technical or editing changes. So your call on the recommendation was either to report or you could go back and conform to Senate Bill 704.
Okay, Sarah.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Senator Hanger.
I believe the bill now is in the form that we wanted, so I would move that to be reported.
As is.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, House Bill 1422 be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye, opposed nay.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays, the bill's reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1448, Delegate Plum's bill, has to do with the management of the fishery Manhattan. It was reported here from ACNR. It's similar to Senate Bill 791, Senator Lewis's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no. The bills are the same, except that the Senate bill does not include the amendment relative to the closed season. So the staff recommendation was that you could report the bill.
Move to report.
It's been moved, is there a second? That the bill be? Second. And seconded, the bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye, opposed nay.
Sixteen ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays, the bill's reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 885, Delegate Sickles' bill, has to do with raising the threshold for speeding and reckless driving. It's substantially similar to Senate Bill 63, Senator Suderland's bill, which passed the Senate. So the staff recommendation was that you could report the bill.
Is there any discussion on the bill?
Will be reported.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 885 be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay. We're getting ahead of you.
Eleven ayes, 4 nays, 1 abstention.
11 ayes, 4 nays, 1 abstention. The bill's reported. All right. All right. April.
Madam Chair, next bill, House Bill 10, Delegate Simon's bill, has to do with student loans and the licensing of qualified education loan servicers and civil penalties. It's similar to the Chair's bill, Senate Bill 77, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no. I believe the patron is expected to offer a substitute, which you could then report. It has minor drafting differences.
Okay. Could we adopt the substitute?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded? Seconded that the substitute be adopted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Just as it is a companion of my bill, I believe the substitute is incorporating several technical changes requested by the SCC. Yeah. It's, yes, they will be identical. Yeah. Is there any discussion? Is there a
I'd move we adopt the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded that the substitute be adopted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's adopted. Is there a motion
I'd
on
move the substitute be reported, Madam.
It's been moved and seconded the substitute be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Fifteen ayes, 0 nays.
15 ayes, 0 nays. Bill's reported. Next bill.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1211, Delegate Trans bill, has to do with the issuance of certain documents and citizenship requirements at DMV. It is substantially similar to Senate Bill 34, Senator Surville's bill, which passed the Senate 22 yes, 18 no. It has a Woodrum impact and some non-general fund revenue from fees, and the Senate budget did provide the Woodrum funds.
Senator Norman.
The term substantially can be amorphous at times. Can you tell me what the difference is, please?
Lisa.
Madam Chair, the substitute that was reported from Senate Transportation returned, it's the version that reported out of the Senate, which went back to the driver privilege cards, but there was a few additional technical amendments from DMV that were incorporated, so that's why we couldn't say it was 100% identical.
Further questions?
Madam Chair,
Senator Hanger.
I'm pretty sensitive on this because I want to continue to support it. And I just need to make sure that those technical amendments weren't so technical that they made a change that I can't live with.
Madam Chair, in full disclosure, when I drafted the floor substitute, I left in a section that was being replaced by other language, and so the substitute takes out the superfluous section.
So as a practical matter, in terms of what it does and requires, it's identical.
Yes, and I believe it also revised some of the language, the Homeland Security language that had been causing problems in New York, to do language that is different from that.
Okay.
So as not to have that.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Peterson.
And I think we had a lot of discussion about this, and we had a very close vote in the Senate. And I think the form that we passed it in, to use the words of my old friend Chip Woodrum, count to vote. I think the count to vote was out there.
Count to vote was a reader.
Count to vote was there. So I think it's important to conform this to the Senate version at this point to get it through.
Okay.
So I'll make that motion.
It's been moved. House Bill 1211 be reported. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Count the vote.
12 ayes, 3 nays.
12 ayes, 3 nays, the bill's reported.
Frida Cathcart wants you to bring back some Hearst bills, pipeline bills.
Okay, next we have the 2 House bills that are related to Senate bills. April.
Madam Chair, this set of bills actually could be done in a block, and I'll read a little bit more about this, give a little more of description. These are House bills that either had no cost impact or bills that have been funded by both the House and the Senate budgets. The first bill, House Bill 1362. This is Delegate Aird's bill. This has to do with general registrars and certifications requirements and then removal from office. It requires the State Board of Elections to elect to develop a general registrar training and certification curriculum and program at no expense to the registrars, and that certification has to occur within 12 months of initial appointment. It also says registrars can be removed for office if they fail to receive to maintain certification. The Department of Elect can absorb the cost. That's the first bill. The second bill, House Bill 343, House Bill 343, Delegate Bell's bill, has to do with donations by localities of in-kind resources to certain volunteer or nonprofit organizations. There is no fiscal impact to the bill. It expands the scope of permitted in-kind donations by a locality to include the provisions of in-kind resources for contract management services for capital projects, assistance in preparing requests for information, bids or proposals, and budgeting services to any association or other organization furnishing voluntary firefighting services or a nonprofit or volunteer emergency medical services agency. That's that bill. The next bill, House Bill 654, Delegate Guy's bill, has to do with authorizing the Department of Mine, Minerals, and Energy to sponsor statewide financing programs for clean energy projects. This was in the introduced budget, included $50,000 each year to support the initial startup costs, unknown costs thereafter. Both the House and the Senate budgets included this, and it authorizes DMME to serve as a statewide sponsor for the clean energy financing program to meet the requirements of the existing locally authorized loan programs. It also says the department shall engage a private entity through competitive selection to develop and administer the program. Next bill, House Bill 234, Delegate Mugler's bill, has to do with the division of offshore wind. Both the House and the Senate budgets contain funding, though at slightly different amounts. The bill establishes the division of offshore wind within the Department of Mine, Minerals, and Energy with the responsibility for establishing the Hampton Roads region as a hub for offshore wind energy industry and related offshore wind generation projects. House Bill 422, Delegate Price's bill, has to do with the Youth Gang Violence Prevention Fund and Program. $150,000 general fund dollars was included in the introduced budget for fiscal year 2021. Both sides left the funding in. It establishes a grant fund and program to be administered by the Department of Juvenile, DCJS, Department of Justice and Criminal Services, to award competitive grants for performing community assessments for youth and gang violence prevention. This would award grants of $25,000 each to cities such as Hampton, Newport News, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Richmond, and Roanoke. Next bill, House Bill 1580, Delegate Sullivan's bill, has to do with deeds not being taxable involving only spouses. There's no fiscal impact. The bill clarifies that the recordation tax exemption under the current law for deeds between married persons includes deeds between spouses. The clarification reflects the fact that Virginia has recognized same-sex unions since 2014. Next bill, House Bill 1205, Delegate Trans bill, has to do with public notice related to the discharge into state waters. This has an unknown fiscal impact. However, it's indeterminate, and the budgets did not include explicit funding, but the staff recommendation was to report. It directs the Department of Environmental Quality to convey information on hazardous discharges to state waters to the Department of Health, to the public through traditional media outlets as required by current law, and through social media outlets, and to report by December 1 of this year on protocols that could be implemented to exempt from notification those discharges which the Department of Health determines have a de minimis impact. Next bill, House Bill 744, Delegate Watts' bill, has to do with sentencing when tried as adult of juveniles. It has an unknown reduction in cost. Staff recommendation was to report. Provides if the juvenile is convicted of a felony, the court may depart from any mandatory minimum sentence required by law and suspend any portion of an otherwise applicable sentence. It also requires that when sentencing a juvenile as an adult to consider the juvenile's exposure to adverse childhood experiences, including early childhood trauma or any child welfare agency and differences between the juvenile and adult offenders. The next bill, House Bill 1417, Delegate Watts' bill, has to do with updating the procedures for reporting federal adjustments to partnership taxable income. There's positive general fund revenue of approximately $1.1 million annually beginning in fiscal 2021. This provides updated procedures for reporting to tax certain partnership adjustments that result from federal tax changes and other changes to federal taxable income. Also specifies with greater detail that when Virginia income taxpayers must report federal tax changes and other changes to federal taxable income, which would apply to individuals, corporations, estates, trusts, and partnerships, thereby linking the taxpayer requirement to report federal audit and other changes to federal taxable income to final determination date. And that is the last bill in that block.
Okay, does anyone want to remove anything from the box? Senator Newman.
Madam Chair, just 744, please.
744 is removed from the block. Although I don't see it. Okay. Is there a motion on the block, which is all the listed bills except 744?
Move to report.
It's been moved and seconded the block be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, no.
Fifteen ayes, 0 nays.
15 ayes, 0 nays. The block is reported. Senate Bill 744. Is there a motion on that bill?
Move to report.
Been moved and seconded that House Bill 744 be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Thirteen ayes, 2 nays.
13 ayes, 2 nays. The bill's reported. April.
Madam Chair, we're on other House bills, so if you prefer, you may start to go back to patron order. There are some revenue bills that need to go out, but I will alert you to that if we get close to the end of the
Okay.
meeting.
First, we have on the list Delegate Watts. You just did several of your bills. Last page. Senator Watts has House Bill 729, which is on your last page.
$729, I do have a substitute, which I don't know if council has it. I do have copies that I have prepared, copying it out of the substitute for Senate Bill 890 that was passed by the House, which deals with the same code sections, the substitute as adopted by the House Appropriations Committee, which deals with the same code sections. And I will now distribute that substitute language. And the reason I had not previously given it to council, I do apologize. I thought that it had been taken care of in substitute for 1414.
We have a difficulty. This is a revenue bill, so it has to go out today.
And this is why it's a substitute.
I think we're going to need to take it by temporarily so
Not a
staff
problem.
can redo it. Sorry. But we'll take it by temporarily. Okay, next on the list is Delegate Kilgore.
Have a House Bill 1558.
1588.
1588. And what it does, Madam Chairwoman, it sets up an ombudsman program at the Workers' Compensation Commission. And basically, they just need to help. There's 40% of our claimants go through the workers' compensation system without an attorney. And they've had an issue with helping those individuals. So it was suggested by JLARC that they set up this program, and it's non-general funds money that they are using to set it up. So that's the bill.
Are there any questions for the delegate? I must say, I think this is a great idea. I get more questions in my office about how that works.
I do too.
Is there a motion on the bill?
I would move the report.
It's been moved and seconded. House Bill 1558 be reported. Senator
Well,
Henry, you
I
had
probably
a
shouldn't say, I was
comment?
going to think this is a good bill, but a better idea would be not to allow lawyers to intervene at all.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that 1558 be reported. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Thank you.
Good.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays. Bill's reported. Next is Delegate Carr. Okay, Delegate.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. House Bill 540 implements a JLARC recommendation, is intended to codify a key staff position within the Department of Elections. Over the years, various commissioners have taken a different approach to making sure the department is well run. It is also, as you know, fairly common for a new commissioner to be appointed by each new governor. Virginia's term-limited governorship makes it possible that the agency could have a new leader every 4 years. All this bill would do is codify a requirement for the department to always have a senior classified staff person as the COO of the agency. That way, as the appointed commissioner comes and goes, there is still someone at the department who knows how the agency should be run and all the various complexities of federal, state, and local requirements for elections. We have someone here from the JLARC, if you'd like to hear the more specifics. I also have a budget amendment, which was passed in the House. It's item 86, number 2H, to cover that budget.
Unfortunately, we didn't have such a bill, so we don't have anything in our budget. So I think we'll need to add the clause.
Second.
The clause has been moved and seconded. All in favor of the clause, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now the bills, I'm not sure we need to hear from JLARC. It's been moved and seconded. The bill be reported as amended. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
16 ayes,
Thank
0
you.
nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays. Bill's reported. Next up, Delegate Ayala.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman.
Good morning.
Bringing same-day voting to the committee and, of course, yourself, ma'am. And this bill essentially enables voters who are not registered in a precinct to register to vote or update their registration during the one-stop shop absentee voting period in the 45 days preceding an election or on election day. And this bill has been before the Senate Finance Committee and passed 9-4, and I hope it'll be the will of the body to pass it again.
Okay, the questions for the delegate. I note that it has a small fiscal impact that's not in either budget, but it is a very small fiscal impact.
It's in the House budget.
Oh, it is?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I don't think so. The clause has been moved. Is there
Second.
And seconded. All in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, it's got the clause. Now is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded. It be reported as amended. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
13 ayes, 3 nays.
13 ayes, 3 nays. Bill's reported.
Thank you. Thank you.
you. Okay, let's see. Delegate McQuinn.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the
morning.
committee. And and I have two bills. Is it, you desire for me to do both now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, House Bill 1541 establishes and creates the Central Virginia Transportation Authority, composed of counties and cities located in Planning District 15. The authority will administer transportation funding generated through the imposition of an additional regional sale and use tax, and as well as gas tax. This bill is passed through, this is a historic moment for our region, and we have quite a number of individuals here who are here to support this support House Bill 1541. And so I hope it be the pleasure of the committee to pass this. Again, there are many individuals here that would like to speak in favor of it.
Do you have a substitute?
Yes, I'm sorry, I do. Please adopt this substitute.
Is there a motion?
Move to adopt the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded? Seconded that the substitute be adopted. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Okay.
Okay. So you have people who'd like to
Yes.
show their support?
Yes.
Just indicate very quickly your support. We have a long docket ahead.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Mike Sherman with the County of Henrico. On behalf of the localities in the Central Virginia region, we support the bill.
Thank you.
Ben Campbell, the chair of the Greater Richmond Transit Company, and this is a real thing for Richmond and its metropolitan area to work together on public transit.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Jeremy Bennett with the Virginia Association of Counties. We support our member counties in this quest.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, I am Julie Tim, the CEO of DRTC, and I am in support of this bill.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm John Easter with Chamber REA, Regional Chamber of Commerce in the area. We very much support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Lisa Guthrie with the Virginia Transit Association. We support the bill.
Thanks, Lisa. Anyone else? Anyone opposed?
Okay. Madam Chair?
Yes. Senator Hanger.
Thank you. Just wanted to clarify the substitute. Does it make it not in conflict then with the bill that Senator Edwards and I sponsored, and then Senator Saslaw's more comprehensive bill?
Is it in, no. I don't think it's in conflict.
Madam Chair.
Lisa.
We established essentially the metro tax throughout the state. My bill. So it should be conformed to that.
Lisa.
Sorry, Madam Chair, can she repeat, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked with the other substitute, but if she could
Ma-
repeat the question.
Madam Chair, I was just wanted to make sure that the bill, the substitute now, is not in conflict with the regional bills, like Senator Edwards and I had one, and then Senator Saslaw also incorporated this.
No, Madam Chair, the substitute was drafted to, the bill was introduced, had the existing percentage on the gas tax, and it was drafted the substitute to do the cents per gallon in the same manner as the other bills. So should various things pass, they will all layer together.
Okay. Thank you, Madam
Okay,
Chair.
if there are further questions, Senator Newman.
Madam Chair, just to be clear, does this basically set up just a third transportation district? We have two, one Northern Virginia, one Eastern Virginia. This is a third one, basically, that would?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, sir. Madam Chair, yes.
Madam Chair. Senator McClellan.
Thank you. And speaking very briefly to that point, back in 2013, when we were trying to establish the Northern Virginia and the Hampton Roads Transportation Authority, the Central Virginia delegation on a bipartisan basis went to the localities to ask if they wanted to get in on the fund. And at that time, they could not agree. But now, without prompting from the delegation on their own, all 9 localities in the region came to us and said, we missed the boat and now we want to get on. So
Yes.
I want to commend the localities for doing that.
Yes.
Okay, is there, it's been moved that the bill be reported and seconded. All in favor, record your vote aye, opposed nay.
15 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention.
15 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention. The bill's reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. The next bill is House Bill 1513, which looks at giving health credits for retired school division employees. One of the challenges has been in the past, and actually I've had this bill up probably about 5 years now, that teachers are given and educators are given the health insurance credit, but there were others who, like janitors, custodians, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, who had worked 15 years was not given that opportunity. So this bill puts in $1.50 to help address the service health insurance credit for those who are, I guess, the lowest paid on as employees of the educational system. And I hope it be the will of the committee to pass it. There are individuals here today as well who would like to speak to this.
Okay. The House has, I understand, funded this. It's a significant fiscal impact, and we have not funded it, so I think it
Yes.
needs the clause.
Second.
Yes, ma'am, I was
Clause.
expecting that.
It's been moved and seconded, the clause be added. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. If people want to speak very briefly, that would be fine.
Madam Chairman, members of the committee, I am Bonnie Atwood. I represent the Virginia Retired Teachers Association, which is wholeheartedly in favor of this bill. And I've brought 3 members with me who will just briefly make a statement on behalf of the bill.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, my name is Ben McCartney. I'm president of the Virginia Retired Teachers Association, 5,700 members strong. I strongly encourage you to go ahead and pass this, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Marcia Elliott. I'm a past president of Area Augusta Retired Teachers Association, which is a unit of VRTA, Virginia Retired Teachers Association. And I am in favor of funding the personnel who are not receiving health care credit to receive that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Glenn Pear Sr. I'm the new president-elect of Virginia Retired Teachers Association, and I very much support this particular bill. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I'm Natalie Snyder, State Advocacy Director with AARP Virginia, and we strongly support this bill in partnership with the VRTA. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. That's it, Madam Chair. And I would hope that.
Madam Chair, I move
we can
it be
pass it.
reported as amended.
It's been moved and seconded, the bill be reported as amended. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay. Good job.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays. Bill's reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next in the queue is Delegate Mugler, but I believe we've done her bill. Can I see who's next in queue? Okay. Delegate Knight.
Yes, ma'am. This is House Bill 120. It's a piece of legislation we passed last year, and we've got 3 technical amendments. We started a 20-year, up to a 20-year frame where we could have unrealized state tax credits on the dome site at Virginia Beach. And this would like where we had a hard date, just to have the start date be when we start collecting revenue off this project and start the 20-year term then. And also, for the bond repayment, have it in the name of a community development authority backed by the faith of the city of Virginia Beach.
Are there questions for the delegate? It's been moved and seconded. House Bill 120 be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
15 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention.
15 ayes, 0 nays, 1
Thank you, Madam
abstention.
Chairman.
Bills
Thank you.
reported. Delegate Robinson. Good morning.
Good morning. So this is House Bill 1272, and I had a constituent come to me and ask that he's for a kind of a universal license for those 80 years of age and up for hunting. It includes their primary basic hunting license, bear, deer, and turkey. And it's at a cost of $200, and they can purchase it over the internet, which is currently allowed. And that's the whole bill.
Are there any questions for the delegate? Is there a motion on the bill? It's been moved and seconded the bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Sixteen ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you very
16 ayes, 0
much.
nays. The bill's reported.
Appreciate it.
Delegate Batten.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the
morning.
committee. I have House Bill 988 before you. This bill simply adds the grandchildren or grandchild of a victim of violent crime to be eligible to apply for benefits from the Virginia Victims Fund. Currently, grandparents, parents, siblings, spouses, and the child of a victim are able to apply for funds, but not the grandchild. Typically, the fund is a payer of last resort, and the type of benefit that would be received most typically would be counseling services. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I do have someone here, I believe still from the Virginia Workers' Compensation Commission, who can answer questions. They are in charge of administering the fund.
And they're in favor of this?
I don't think they took a position, but yes, generally.
Okay. Are there questions? Is there a motion on the bill?
I would move to report, Madam Chair.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 988 be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Thank you.
Okay.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays. The bill's reported. Delegate Askew.
Morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
Today I have before you HB 1726, which is very similar to the senator that is on the committee, Senator Lucas's bill. It's a HRT funding bill. It takes the existing provisions of the code related to transit planning and includes those provisions specific to Hampton Roads and ties them and creates Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization. It also establishes the Hampton Roads Regional Transit Fund, which will be managed by the Hampton Roads Transportation Accountability Commission. And it draws upon 2 regional transportation revenue sources, including grantors taxes and TOT taxes.
Okay. This is very similar to Senator Lucas's bill, and I suggest we might want to conform it to her bill. Been moved and seconded that Delegate Askew's bill be conformed to Senate Bill 1038. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Voice.
Oh, sorry. Oh, this is conforming. Yes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, it's conformed. Now the recorded vote to report. Did you get it? Okay. He's wandering.
12 ayes, 4 nays.
12 ayes, 4 nays, bills reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Delegate. Delegate Tran.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I have before you 1220, House Bill 1220.
1220.
Last year, a constituent of mine reached out regarding her daughter who had accrued interests on, who, after amending her federal tax returns, didn't realize that she owed additional state taxes and that interest were accruing on those state taxes that she had owed because of the amended federal tax. And so she didn't ask me to do this, but in looking into this situation, what we realized, and y'all may already be familiar, is that Virginia taxpayers owe interest on any taxes we haven't paid from the beginning of when we were supposed to pay those taxes, even if we weren't aware that that was the situation we were in. And on top of that, our interest tax rate is 7%, which is 2% higher than the federal recommended rate. So this bill really is about trying to even the playing field a little bit for our taxpayers. And it does two things coming out of the House. The first is that it would give the Department of Taxation the ability to waive interest on state tax returns on state taxes owed if the taxpayers in good faith were not aware that there were additional state taxes they have to pay. And then the second is that it would direct the Department of Taxation to notify taxpayers if they owe additional state taxes only in instances when the department is made aware that there's been amendments to the federal tax return. And that these notices that the department would provide would include either information about the additional Virginia state taxes that are owed or ask for information to help calculate those additional taxes that we owe, and then the interest would clock in at that point. I welcome your questions.
Are there questions? I would just note that it has a fairly significant fiscal impact. Is there a committee amendment?
Do you have the clause?
Oh, okay, sorry. There's a committee amendment.
Madam Chair, so what the committee amendment would do is that it would leave in the provisions about the waiver of interest by tax, but it would remove the part about providing written notification to the taxpayer in the event that a change might be needed. So it would take out the notification part, leave in the interest waiver part.
And presumably would take out most of the fiscal impact?
There would, I think the Department of Tax said that there would still be a fiscal impact as they are assessing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, how many people should get a waiver?
Madam Chair, staff's understanding is that with the committee substitute, the fiscal impact would be reduced to approximately $150,000 per year.
Is there?
So, Madam Chair, if I might.
Senator Peterson.
As I understand, we're keeping in the waiver language that tax can still waive interest if they participate in good faith, but the notice, the burden is still on the taxpayer to come forward with that, which I would support. So I move.
Okay, the amendment's been moved. Is there a second?
If we can, just put a clause on there, a contingency clause.
I second that.
All right, so we have the committee amendment plus the clause. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Now we have the bill.
Move to report as amended.
It's been moved and seconded. The bill as amended be reported. All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay.
$16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays. Bill's reported.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Delegate Willett.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Do you want to? All right. Wait, you tell what is, yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead, Delegate. You tell her. Thanks. Yes, Delegate.
I'm back. Yes, Madam Chair, HB 1553 creates a regulatory structure for debt settlement companies. These are companies that are helping folks who have accumulated debts with multiple credit cards to settle that debt. This puts a regulatory structure in place that the SEC, Bureau of Financial Institutions, would implement and oversee. And there is an amendment, or there was an amendment from the committee that clarified the fees for that.
But it's a revenue, I'm sorry, we're having
No, you go right
an
ahead.
entirely different bill.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. Your bill is fine.
That's good news. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Yes, Senator Peterson.
There's a federal regulatory scheme here for debt settlement services, correct? And then there's a term of art for it, and it's not on my mind right now.
Madam Speaker, or Madam Chair, speaking to Senator Peterson, the FTC there is a high-level regulatory structure, but it does not individually license these companies. So right now in Virginia, we do not know what companies are operating here unless they're self-reporting. This would put a structure in place where the SEC would actually regulate them and also license them.
Further question?
Yes, Senator Peterson.
Okay, and maybe I'm losing my mind, and I know this is a federal case, but I have represented clients that have been sued for quote-unquote settling debts or negotiating debts without having some type of regulatory authority to do so. And perhaps that was a federal statute, but I'm pretty sure there's a federal regulatory scheme already in place.
They're, through the Fair Debt Collection Act, but again, this is a much more specific bill. A number of states have put in similar requirements, again, to understand which companies are actually operating here. My understanding through the Attorney General's office is we've not been able to rely on the FTC to enforce that nationally. Some companies are good actors, some are not, and this is just to make sure everyone's on the same page and operating within that fee structure.
Okay, final question, Madam Chair.
Senator Peterson.
I assume that there's a cause of action in here somewhere if I read through all this paperwork. Private right of action, I see it.
There are enforcement provisions for the SEC. There's fines as well. There's also a criminal penalty provided,
Well, there's a private right of action on line 376.
which can be provided, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a motion on the bill? It's been moved and seconded the bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Fifteen ayes, 0 nays.
15 ayes, 0 nays, bill's reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Delegate Mieres. Okay.
Madam Chair, I know there is a amendment in the nature of a substitute, I
Yes.
think, for the committee.
Is there a motion to adopt the substitute?
Adopt the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded the substitute be agreed to, adopted. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Substitute's adopted.
Madam Chair, the Hampton Roads Regional Arena Authority legislation, it simply sets up a regional authority for the cities of Virginia Beach, Norfolk, and Chesapeake to be able to set up the regional authority, to set up bonds. The majority of the people appointed to the authority are by the governor. There was an Attorney General's opinion several years ago that indicated that would be a requirement. Each of the three mayors are there. The only thing the amendment in nature of the substitute does is it capitalizes certain sections, but most importantly allows, if the mayors are not able to attend the regional authority, that they could send a designated representative in their place, but that person has to be an elected official. Happy to answer any questions from the committee.
Okay. We need to make an amendment to the date on the substitute. It would be July 1st, 2060.
And Madam Chair, that would be on line 306. And that has to do with the expiration of the entitlement to sales tax revenue. So currently, the bill has it at 2070, and the amendment, if the committee adopted, would be to bump that up 10 years to 2060.
Is there a second to the amendment? Second. All in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The bill's in front of us then.
The bill is amended to be reported.
It's been moved and seconded.
Madam Chair,
Senator Evan.
it says House bill related to Senate bill.
So we can have, I would ask staff, we can have this as well as the Senate bill that we reported or passed?
Madam Chair, Senator Lewis had a bill the committee saw that was limited to Norfolk. On the House side, they've since amended the bill so that it would be identical to Delegate Miares' bill as it is before us now, with a regional approach. The only difference at this point then would be that change in the date from 2070 to 2060.
Further question?
Yes.
Do we have to do anything to reconcile them, or can they both pass in their own right?
Madam Chair, Senator Eben, they would be identical except for the date change.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there was a motion to report, but it hasn't been seconded.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. The bill as amended be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Sixteen ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays. Bill's reported. Next, Delegate Price. Not here. Delegate Bell. Oh, they were in the block. Okay, Delegate Rome. She was in the block too?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to the members of the committee here. I'm ready when you are, Madam Chair.
Good.
Great. Madam Chair and members of the committee, HB 1024 provides that the Virginia State Police establish a publicly searchable cold case database. The bill will give the Senate Police more resources that they need to solve crimes that would facilitate increased collaboration between state and local law enforcement agencies. This publicly searchable cold case database will also empower citizens across the Commonwealth to aid in the process of solving missing persons cases and as well as unidentified persons cases. I hope it's the will of the committee to pass the bill.
Are there questions for the delegate? I see it has a one-time fiscal impact of $110,000.
That's right. And Madam Chair and to the members of the committee, this bill has also been funded in the Senate, or I'm sorry, in the House budget as well.
But not in the Senate budget.
Well, correct. There's no
Right.
Senate. I want to just mention, Madam Chair, there's no Senate companion. That's correct.
Yeah. So I think we need the clause.
Right.
Okay. The clause has been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. Now, is there a motion on the bill? It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 1024 be reported as amended. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
See some of y'all in
Bill's
conference.
reported. Okay, next Delegate Sickles.
And I assume that, Madam Chair, that you want to look at the HB 129?
Yes.
Yeah. So this little this is the teeniest tax or fee increase you've ever seen in your life. And it was requested by my good friend Sam Nixon. It's a State Corporation Commission bill, and it is to help give them flexibility in their utility fund, this little teeny little fee that
How teeny.
that the utilities pay help them regulate. As you know, the State Corporation Commission is a non-general fund agency. They raise their own money. They felt that they needed this and came to me to put it in. And so, you know, it's 0.0020, and we're raising it here, if you approve this, to 0.0026 on this. So so it gives them, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to raise the fee on utilities. The utilities all called me when I put this bill in, and then I told them to talk to State Corporation Commission. And everybody is fine with it as far as I know. And I think Mr. Nixon's here somewhere to speak to it. He was here.
I don't think.
Earlier.
He's here, but I don't think we need to hear from him.
Yeah, he probably didn't want to come up, but I've used his name a couple times, and I think I've explained it right. They just need they need this to do their job. That's all it is. It doesn't cost taxpayers anything, and they just need our permission to do this.
Is there a motion on the bill?
Can I ask one question, Madam Chair?
Senator Peterson.
The tax is based on percentage
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Senator Peterson, Sam Nixon, it's a combination of gross receipts and consumption taxes. This particular bill, this cap has not been changed in over 70 years. So it takes the cap from 20 100ths of 1% to 26 100ths of 1% for this specific category of taxes and fees that the SEC is statutorily permitted to assess. In this case, it's for mostly utilities.
Okay. And I'm, if I might, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
I'm certainly going to support the bill. It just, to have it be a percentage would seem to be a little bit odd, considering the role of the SEC in trying to limit the gross receipts.
I'm not sure, Madam Chair, I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well, maybe I don't understand it either, but I guess you're smarter than I am, Sam, but anyways, fair enough.
Madam Chair, if I could just add, this bill is permissive. It does not impose the tax. It raised the ceiling of the amount that the SEC can impose in the future. Because it's gone so long without being adjusted, we're anticipating that we will run out of money in this particular funding stream in about 3 or 4 years. So that's why we're here today.
Okay.
I did say
Is there,
that.
yes, Senator Norman.
Sam, nice shirt.
Yes.
Madam Chair, Scott McGarry, Washington Gas. We support the bill, as does Columbia Gas of Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion on the bill? The teeny tiny little increase.
That
It's
may
been
not
moved
ever,
and seconded.
that may not ever be imposed.
It's been moved and seconded. The bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Those opposed, nay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
14 ayes, 0 nays, 2 abstentions.
14 ayes, 0 nays, 2 abstentions. If I might ask staff, do we still have revenue bills? And if so, I think we ought to hear them because we have to do it today.
Madam Chair, the first one that I see that's left on the list is Delegate Hope's bill related to prisoner medical care. It was reported from Rehab and Social Services to here. It has a general fund impact of $405,000 per year that is funded in the House budget. And the recommendation on that was, it was not in the Senate budget, and the recommendation was to carry over.
Is there any discussion on this bill?
It's a great bill, Senator.
It's been
Way to
moved
go,
and
Vince.
seconded. The bill be carried over. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Sorry. Record your vote. Aye or nay. To carry over.
You got it.
14 ayes, 1 nay.
14 ayes, 1 nay. The bill's carried over. Thanks, Delegate. Do you have another one?
I do.
Is it a revenue?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It is not, but you could probably do it pretty quickly.
Oh, we can do it quickly, we're told.
And there is a substitute.
Is there a motion?
Am I right? I didn't make that up.
Not so quickly.
But there's nothing easy.
Is there a motion to adopt the substitute?
This has to do.
Seconded. All in favor of adopting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Madam Chair, members of the committee, this has to do with ranked choice voting for Arlington County, the county manager plan of government.
Madam
It's
Chair,
permissive.
just to make it shorter, we passed Delegate Hudson's bill. This is a little bit narrower.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
It applies only to, Madam Chair, it applies only to Arlington County as a local fiscal impact that's going to be covered by the locality.
Okay. Is there a motion on the bill? It's been moved and seconded. The bill be reported. All in favor, say, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
11 ayes, 4 nays.
11 ayes, 4 nays. The bill's reported.
you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have other revenue bills?
Delegate Jones, House Bill 1442, it relates to civil penalties and photo speed monitoring devices. I believe there was, it authorizes use of photo speed monitoring devices at highway, school, and crossing zones and allows for a civil fine of up to $100. It creates a special fund at state police for summons issued by state police officers, and there was a recommended committee amendment to eliminate the dedicated fund.
The technical amendments, yes.
They're technical amendments?
I think we're good on the amendments.
Madam Chair, there aren't technical amendments, there are the amendments that April just
perfect,
described.
Perfect, that's all.
Okay. Good. So does somebody want to move to adopt the amendments?
Move.
Okay, the amendments have been moved. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Amendments are adopted.
You can let him stay over there.
Yeah, he can stay.
You can let him stay over there. Yes.
Yes. Senator Peterson, did you want to say? Okay, does anyone?
Have we already passed this, Madam Chair?
We adopted the
Senate?
amendments. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
To report, and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote. Aye, opposed, nay.
10 ayes, 6 nays.
10 ayes, 6 nays. The bills are reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
And also 1438, I think, is also a revenue bill.
Okay, let's see. House Bill 1438.
Madam Chair, House Bill 1438 was the one related to imposing tolls in the hot lanes in certain portion. It has a no non-general fund impact, Section 1 bill, I believe, that authorizes the Hampton Roads Commission to impose and collect the tolls on those toll lanes.
Correct, and the money that's collected from the tolls will go to service the bonds that were issued to build the tolls. Great for Hampton Roads from Newport News to Bowers Hill.
Are there questions for the delegate? Is there a motion on the bill? It's been moved and seconded the bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
13 ayes, 1 nay, 2 abstentions.
13 ayes, 1 nay, 2 abstentions.
Thank
Bills
you, Madam Chair,
reported.
and at request of the Speaker, I'm sort of a representative on House Bill 1414, and it would be her request that we conform that bill to Senator Saslaw's, the Transportation Omnibus Bill,
Is there a
if
motion?
we haven't already done that. Okay.
We have that. Is there a motion to conform
I'll move to conform.
1414? Okay, all in favor of conforming, indicate by saying aye. Aye, opposed, nay, it's conformed. Is there a motion to report?
This conforms this to mine.
Yours, exactly, yes. Okay, all in favor of reporting, vote aye, opposed, nay.
12 ayes, 4 nays.
12 ayes, 4 nays.
Thank you,
The bill's
Madam Chair.
reported. Thank you. My understanding is that Delegate Watts has asked that her House Bill 729 be laid on the table. Is that correct?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Could I speak for just a moment to
Sure.
that preferred motion? Unfortunately, it is not in a posture that it can go forward. Because I know there are many in the audience that are interested in the restoration of funding, I would note that Senate Bill 980 on the House side has been conformed, which includes the provisions that were in 729 with the substitute that I had passed out that deals both with the unique situation of Prince William as well as additional funding. So those are in the amendments to 980 as it now resides on the House side in its substitute. But with that, again, council informs me that my substitute would not have been appropriate for a standalone bill. Therefore, I would appreciate the kindness of laying it on the table.
Madam Chair, we don't have a lay on the table motion in the Senate. Maybe if we move to
Carry it
carry the
over.
bill over.
Carry it over.
Sounds good.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that House Bill 729 be carried over till next session.
Thank you.
All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays. Do we have any more revenue bills? Oh, we do.
Madam Chair, House Bill 502, Delegate Krizik's bill, has to do with the litter tax penalty. It has an unknown positive minimal non-general fund revenue increase. Litter tax collections were $1.1 million in fiscal 2018. So it adds the penalty of $100 to an existing penalty, which is an amount equal to the tax due and collection costs for failure to pay the Virginia litter tax on time. Under current law, the tax is $10 annually for each establishment engaged as a business, manufacturer, wholesaler, distributor, or retailer of specified items, and an additional $15 tax for a subset. Revenues are then deposited to the Litter Control and Recycling Fund, and 90% of that is paid to localities as litter prevention and recycling funds.
Are there questions for the delegate?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Senator Evan.
I wanted to know, first, understand you heard it in the other body. Did anyone support this who's in the industry?
Yeah, the beer wholesalers, wine wholesaler, everybody supportive. They're here today. There is no opposition, known opposition.
Will the bill be reported?
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 502 be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays, the bill's reported. We have another bill dealing with the litter tax. Delegate Lopez, 1154.
Hello, ma'am. Madam Chair, members of the committee. For several decades, Virginia's levied a tax on manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors, retailers of certain heavily littered products. The revenue collected is deposited in the Litter Control and Recycling Fund, which provides grants to localities. These amounts have been in code for over 30 years and have not been adjusted in over 30 years to keep up with inflation. This bill basically brings Virginia's litter tax into the 21st century with a small update to account for decades of inflation. The bill would increase the rate to $20 for each establishment, a slight increase from the $10 in current law. And for establishments that manufacture, sell, distribute groceries, soft drinks, or beer, the tax would raise from $15 to $30. I hope that it's the will of the committee to pass the bill. We had it went well in committee and on the House side.
Okay. Is there anyone who wants to speak in favor of the bill?
Sure.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, I'm Zach Huntington with Clean Fairfax, and along with the Virginia Conservation Network, we support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to the bill?
So what was fascinating in committee was we had a bunch of folks who were actually on the state commission who work in the industry, and they were saying that because we haven't updated this tax, you've got recycling programs that are being suspended in different parts of the state, including in Arlington. And so,
including Fairfax.
Yeah. And so the idea is that this brings it into the 21st century. It hasn't been updated in over 33 decades, and it's a very minor increase.
Okay, is there a motion on the bill?
Madam.
It's been moved and seconded, the bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Fourteen ayes, 0 nays, 2 abstentions.
14 ayes, 2 abstentions. The bill is reported.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, members of the committee.
Madam Chair, we have House Bill 832, Delegate Sullivan's bill, which has to do with the registration requirements and penalties for athlete agents. It has some offsetting revenue and cost impact. There's a $50,000 General Woodrum impact that was included in the House budget.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm happy to talk about the merits of the bill if you're interested. This comes to us from the Uniform Code Commission, Virginia's longtime Uniform Code Commissioner Lane Needler is with us.
We care about the money.
Didn't think so. This is meant to protect our Virginia student athletes is how I'll sum up the bill. In terms of the dollars, the bill pays for itself under the Callahan Act. What this bill does is it requires agents to register. And there's a long process and a lot of information required from them. But under the Callahan Act, of course, DPOR sets its fees for registrations in an amount sufficient to pay the costs. That's 54.1-113, and the bill on its face says as much. that the director of DPOR shall set the fees. It makes a suggestion of what the fee should be, and then it says that the director shall set the fees at amounts sufficient to cover the costs. In terms of the FIS, if you look at it, this of course is based on an estimate of number of agents. Over the first 2 years, in terms of expenditure and revenue there's a $10,000 difference, which
I
calculates
think
to
your
14
bill's in
agents.
really good shape.
Then I'll stop talking.
It's been moved.
I do
and
my
is there
best
a-
work when I stop talking.
I've got one question.
Oh, dear.
Oh, here
Okay,
we go.
Senator
See?
Deeves, my mistake.
When I served in the House of Delegates, I served with a fellow who represented certain NFL players. He was just a lawyer in Chesapeake who was hired, attorney-client relationship, hired to negotiate contracts. This would require him to take an additional step and register with DPOR, or does this interfere in any respect with an attorney-client relationship?
Madam Chair, Senator Dees, it doesn't interfere with the attorney-client relationship. It would require anyone who wants to represent a college athlete or an amateur athlete in Virginia to register with DPOR. This has been done in 42 other states, and frankly, the rest of them are considering doing it too. The agent industry is quite familiar with the revised Uniform Agent Act.
Senator Sassel.
Let me ask you to be clear. So somebody like that fellow Boris that represents Strasburg and people like that, they would set his fees if Strasburg was coming out of college and negotiating with several teams?
Madam Chair, no, there's a registration fee to register and get registered in Virginia as a
Right.
qualified agent to deal with a Virginia student athlete. There's going to be a $700 fee. What
Right.
Boros's fee would be is between him and Strasburg. What
I
his fee
see.
for representing him would
That's
be.
not in the bill.
Has nothing to do with this.
Right, okay.
Madam Chair,
Senator Peterson.
if you're a student athlete or a college athlete, and you want to hire an attorney to negotiate a contract with you for whatever reason, that attorney doesn't necessarily have to register as an agent.
Madam Chair, under the act, that attorney would have to register as an agent, disclosing a bunch of information.
Is that true?
And giving certain protections. For instance, there's a uniform contract that gives certain notices.
Your legal counsel is shaking his head
All
while
right,
you're
well,
saying yes.
come on in and
so.
say it.
Good morning, Madam Chairman. Lane
Good morning.
Needler. I'm here as a volunteer today. I'm a member of the Virginia delegation to the Uniform Law Commission that over a 2-year period in using methodologies that we just couldn't do here. Believe it or not, every act they adopt, they read section by section and debate section by section. Can you imagine doing that here? With about 250 to 300 people. To answer your question, if I am a student athlete, I want to hire you as a lawyer, just as a lawyer, to help me negotiate a contract, I can do that. What I can't do is if you're the attorney and you want to negotiate with the professional team contract for me, then you would have to register.
All right.
Okay. Is there a motion on the bill? It's been moved and seconded. The bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays. It's reported. Delegate Cole.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have House Bill 1575, which was requested by Stafford County. What it does is it allows localities that impose the merchant capital tax, which most localities do not. If a locality imposes B-poll, then they do not have a merchant capital tax. However, if a locality does not impose B-poll, then they may impose the merchant capitals tax. And what it does is it would allow, it doesn't mandate anything, allow localities to have a separate classification of the merchant's capital tax for large retailers over at least 200,000 square feet.
Are there questions for the delegate? It's been moved and seconded. The bill be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye. Opposed, nay.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16
you.
ayes, 0 nays. If I could ask staff, does that complete the docket except for the big bills, 29 and 30? Okay. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is, we'll start with 29. We're going to have a committee substitute that conforms theirs to ours.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded, 29 be conformed to our 29. All in favor, record your vote aye, opposed nay. Oh, we first needed the voice vote. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and now to report as amended, 29. Is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, record your vote aye, opposed nay.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays. Now we have House Bill 30 that needs to be conformed to
So moved.
Senate bill. It's been
So
moved and seconded that it be conformed. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Is there a?
Move report.
It's been moved and seconded, it be reported. All in favor, record your vote aye, opposed no.
16 ayes, 0 nays.
16 ayes, 0 nays, bills reported. Thank you all. Thank you, staff. Thank you.